If you're a fan of Formula One, you're going to love this episode, especially as we have a little Naval Academy twist to it. Welcome back to the Academy Insider Podcast. My name's Grant. I'm looking forward to getting to bring on Kevin Burnett. He's an instructor at the Naval Academy. He was a midshipman himself, and now he's a big component and a piece and like the officer representative of the Navy Formula SAE team. It's not associated with like the actual F1 brand, the Formula One brand, but it's in a similar vein, similar industry. It's an automotive engineering type team. And this is a really cool thing that a handful of midshipmen get to do every year as a capstone project. And so if you're interested in this world of F1 and Formula racing in general and the Naval Academy, you're going to get a kick out of this episode. We share a ton of stories about his time in the Civil Engineer Corps as well, what brought him back to the Academy, and his hope, goal, mission, and intent with being involved with the Formula SAE team. So really looking forward to it. If you have any questions, as always, please let me know. Otherwise, enjoy the episode. Thank you so much for the listen. Before we jump in, I do want to highlight that Academy Insider is powered by my for-profit business, the Vermeer Group. We do real estate consultation and connection across the country for Service Academy families. So if you're thinking about buying or selling a home, I would love if you reached out to me. It would support me, it'd support Academy Insider, and I'd love to get to talk to you about real estate as well. So thank you so much. Let's jump into it. Hope you enjoy the episode. All right, everyone, welcome back to the Academy Insider Podcast. My God, Kevin, thanks so much for being here with us today and taking the time to talk about a really cool topic. Because for anyone out there who's just a fan of the Formula Series or F1, people seeing this on TV and all over the place, you know, this is a popular topic. And I don't think a lot of people know that the Naval Academy has a Formula team. And so I'm excited for you to be here. Before we jump too deep in the topic, I want to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself. Tell us what brought you to the Naval Academy and a little bit about your story through the Navy.
Awesome. Well, hey, Grant, first off, thanks to you and your team for just having me on here, man. Honored to be a part of this and honored to be back here at the Academy in an instructor role. Man, long journey. I will say it's been filled with a lot of adversity, and I am honestly so thankful for that. And kind of start at the back. Grew up in Newcastle, Delaware, so not too far from the Naval Academy. Honestly, not a military family, no background there, but 9/11 happened when I was in high school. I was actually in a military history class when it happened. And I just knew I had to be part of something to support that. Didn't know what it would look like, didn't know what it would be, but I just knew like that was kind of something was talking to me there, and ended up applying to the Naval Academy, getting in. I figured three things. I said, all right, I know I want to lead the military, number one priority. I want to be a mechanical engineer. I was a gearhead growing up, love motorcycles, cars, trucks, great engineering. And then I'm going to play football too. And wasn't a recruit. Humbled there. We'll talk about that. We could talk a lot about that. But so went there for three reasons. Only got two of them, and that's okay.
That's good.
Yeah, a ton we can talk about at my time at the Academy. But to jump ahead a little bit, was supposed to be a sub officer. Had an unfortunate air embolism during a medical procedure. And it forced me to redesignate, and ended up getting picked up by the Civil Engineer Corps, so CEC for short for a lot of those folks. A lot of folks, CEC or the Civil Engineer Corps, not so commonly known, but CBs, most folks at least have heard of them, or maybe have heard of the construction battalions, the CBs. So I've been a CEC officer since, and have spent a fair amount of time of my career back here teaching. So that brings us kind of today.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And through that piece, just again, I know this isn't an episode about the CB community, but where did your career path take you, right? Again, I know like, you know, submarine, it's a pretty structured pathway, and everyone basically knows, hey, I'm going to Charleston, I'm going to nuclear power school, I'm going to go to prototype, I'm going to go to my ship. Like, what's that look like on the CB side, and kind of what was your experience in the Navy?
Yeah. So honestly, pretty unorthodox too. And this is one of the highlights of the CEC. You kind of have two big pillars, which is maybe the operational side. We'll call that the green side, CBs, deployments, building stuff, attaching to the Marine Corps, attaching to the Army, attaching to SEAL teams, doing that whole stuff in the dirt. But then there's we'll call it the NAFAC side of the house, Naval Facility Engineering Command. And that's maintaining our installations around the world. So what's cool about a CEC officer is you actually could get stationed at every single Navy and Marine Corps installation, or at least have the opportunity to. You can't hit them all because your career is not going to make that happen. But you look at a billet list, and we've got all of them. So, because our job is to support the line officer, right? Line communities. What do they need? If the surface fleet needs a new pier, we're going to figure that out. If the runways are in despair at Pensacola, we'll try to improve them. If the Marine Corps needs a new school at TBS or a new facility, we'll make that happen. So I got to go to NMCB 11, so Naval Mobile Construction Battalion 11 out of Gulfport, Mississippi. That was my first operational unit. We went to the Pacific, did a PACOM deployment nearly a year long, so got a ton of experience there. Spent a lot of time in Okinawa. Came back, went to Quantico and supported the Marine Corps as a construction manager. So basically new construction and renovations for them. Spent about nearly 2 years there. Volunteered for an individual augmentee, so that was pretty a hot thing in that, we'll call it 2005 to 2015 timeframe. So did an IA, joint Navy Army. We went to Afghanistan, Ghazni, Afghanistan. So did a tour there.
Can you explain what the term IA means for someone who may not be familiar?
Yep, absolutely. So individual augmentee. So instead of taking a unit to do a mission, they'll gather up talent and skill sets in the fleet and sometimes other sister services and put a team together. And CEC officers tend to fit well in that because we know construction, we know contracting, and we can take, logistics officers, we can take intel officers, we can take operators, whoever we need. And say, all right, let's put this team together and make it happen.
It's super interesting. I apologize. I'm just going to tack on there real quick because that was big in the Cryptologic community as well. So I was a Cryptologic officer. We did a lot of IAs because it was one of these things where you weren't going to send an entire command of 150 cryptologists, but you may need one cryptologist and maybe, 3 Cryptologic enlisted support individuals to go out there and do a mission for someone, right? Or join some Army signals battalions or whatever the case is. And so you get a lot of cool opportunity there, which is a really unique niche aspect of the Navy world. Because again, usually a submarine is just going to go on deployment. A ship is just going to go on deployment. But some of these support staffs or support, officers, we do a lot of IAs. We do a lot of individual augmentation across the globe, which is really cool. So anyway, appreciate letting me jump in there and back to you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, finished that tour up, and then the CEC said, "Hey, you've done a fair amount of operational stuff, NAVFAC stuff, and you need a staff billet to kind of balance things out." I said, "All right, give me the options." They said, "Okay, you can be a flag aide, you can be work at Pentagon and kind of push some paper and prep some briefs if you want, or you can be an instructor." And I said, "Tell me about my instructor options." And there were 2 on the table. One is our basic school. We call it CECOS, Civil Engineer Corps Officer School, Port Hueneme. They were kind of plussed up there, and they said, "We're struggling to fill the academy billet or billets. And what will be nice, you'll go there, you'll get your graduate degree too, and you'll teach some engineering, and it'll be a nice stepping stone in your career." And I said, "Sign me up." I was a midshipman. I struggled there. I got a ton of lessons learned, and if anyone can bring some lessons learned, I'm going to bring a truckload of them. And so ended up doing that, and it actually didn't work out as planned, and I ended up affiliating with the reserves, and I've been on and off reserve, kind of a drilling reservist, and then doing some mobilizations and some activations in the meantime. So that kind of brings us now.
No, very
so I've got to see some cool stuff.
Very interesting. And again, you mentioned, you kind of had some struggle, adversity, difficulty during your time as a midshipman as well. What I want to ask about is some of that adversity and difficulty, but also specifically, right? Like this idea of, and it sounds like maybe you had wanted, especially with your engineering brain, wanted to be a submariner for a long time, right? Like how was that adjustment for you of being like, oh, I want to be a submariner, I'm going to be a submariner, and then having this medical issue that kind of shifted you to the Civil Engineer Corps? And how did you deal with that? How did you cope with that? And kind of how did your time as a midshipman prepare you for that?
Yeah, so I'll be straight up. I did, when I came to the academy, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I really didn't. And honestly, I had one mentor, and he was my weapons instructor, and he was a sub guy. He was getting out, and there were a lot of folks, and maybe it's just bad timing, but there were a lot of folks that were getting out after their instructor tour. And it could have been the pre 9/11, like a lot of those folks joined pre 9/11, and things were changing, and like you said, IAs and all these deployments, and so I struggled to find a mentor. But there was a sub guy who actually he took me under his wing because it was our career starter learner, and it's very almost embarrassing. But I don't look, man. I'm humble and I don't care. They're like, hey, you're gonna get some money and you can take this loan if you want. And he set aside like 20 minutes of class one day and was dropping all this knowledge on Roth IRA this and interest rate that, and I had no idea what he's talking about. Like my folks didn't. Like,
I don't know what that means.
Money, man, we're blue. Look, blue collar Delaware. We're surviving. And I afterwards, I said, "Hey, LT, sir, I honestly don't know what you're talking about." And he's like, "No problem. Yeah, give me a free period. You come to my office." And was so cool about teaching me and educated, and there was no dumb questions. And I was like, I want to follow this guy. And he's a sub guy, and I'm going to go do that. I'm a mechie. I'm going to go do that. And that's really why I picked it. New school was tough. And I went through, no kidding, it's a 6-month power school. I went through 5 months, 3 weeks, and during the 4th week, I got my air embolism. Like the whole thing. And what was tough about it was, well, one, I mean, I don't know how I survived. Like to survive an air embolism like that. I was in a naval hospital in Charleston, and where it happened. And I wake up and I'm on oxygen. I'm strapped to a stretcher on my left side, like I'm in a saint, like like they got me strapped, like they're worried I'm gonna go nuts. I'm soaked. I'm soaked in my khakis. I'm in a room I've never been in my life, and there's a Navy captain, a doc there, and I got my oxygen on. He's like, "Don't roll over, or you're gonna die. You have an air bubble suspended in your heart, and we got to get you to a recompression chamber in downtown Charleston." And I rush down there. I'm in this chamber for nearly 12 hours. My advisor comes in. Hey, thankfully you're alive. We're going to roll you back 8 weeks. This is great. You can kind of recover and all this. So I'm in the hospital a couple of days. I come back and she gets the leadership from power school, and they say, hey, unfortunately, it's too much red tape medically. And they were very honest with me about it, which I respect that. But to be told you're not worth cutting through red tape, that stung. So I won't lie and say it felt good, but I did appreciate the honesty. Like, hey, we can't risk putting any more money into you because we don't know what your medical condition could lead to. It's just the unknown is not something we're going to mess with. So please redesignate. So I went from like kind of being crushed to I'm one who just, look, as long as you get back up, you're good. And I kind of got back dust off, and they're handing me this book. It looked like a pro knowledge book, and it was a little pamphlet, alphabetical order, and it was all the communities you could pick, like aviation, duty, maintenance officer. Second one, like civil engineer corps. I'm like, man, I remember this from CB's, dirt, trucks, equipment. I'm like, hey,
that sounds great.
Like, I was like, put it in, and they're like, no, you need 2 weeks. We need 5 of them. I was like, no, I'll put this 5 times. They're like, no, seriously, you need 5. SWO's got to be on there. You got to put SWO on there somewhere. So I said, okay.
5.
Nothing against SWO. I put it 5 because I know they needed SWO, and I did not have a good SWO cruise as a mid. We can go back to that if we want. And I was like, okay, CEC's number 1, and I'm going to put 3 things in the middle that they can't give me because of my medical condition. I'm not going to be a SEAL. I can't be EOD. Right? Nothing with diving and water. So I think I lucked out because I forced their hand. I did in a session. Yeah, I did in a sessions visit to like meet the CEC community, and that I think put it over the top. So I went from quickly being told you ain't worth it to just saying, okay, no problem. You want to shut the door on me? I'm going to find a window that's open. I'm going to get in this building, and I'm going to work with whoever wants to work with me. And it was the CEC at that point. So
it's really cool. I appreciate you sharing your story, and something that I'm interested about is kind of your mindset and perspective and how you wanted to approach your instructor tour, right? Knowing, and I think again, one of the things that I talk about the Naval Academy a lot is how special it is because of the amount of incredible people that are there that can be mentors for you. And you don't know whether it's going to be your company officer, or it's going to be the commandant, or if it's going to be your senior enlisted leader, or it's going to be your random EM 300 teacher who's telling you about Roth IRAs in class when you take out your career starter loan, right? But like, there's so many incredible people across the spectrum. And so, for you who had kind of had, it sounds like, again, some adversity at the Naval Academy, went through this major life changing and shifting moment through your time in the Navy. How did you want to approach being an instructor, giving back to the midshipmen, imparting your wisdom and sharing your stories and making a positive impact in the life of midshipmen?
Yeah, absolutely. So to tell you the truth, it's utterly simple in my book. I just want to make the next wave better than me. And that is the epitome of leadership. Like, here's everything I've got, lessons learned, run with it and do better than me. And while you're doing it, I'm going to keep elevating the standard. And if I can make you better than me and you can make the next wave better than you, and we can keep doing that, we are going in the right direction. And that part of it's pretty simple. And I think for me, it's always just being humble. And people can follow someone if you're genuine and you're humble enough to admit the things that you got, tripped up on, people listen to you, right? They can relate to you, and then they open up. They'll ask you about that EM300 problem that they're struggling with. They'll talk to you about the sport team they're on and they're not getting the playing time they need, or they'll talk to you about their family member who's sick at home, or whatever it is, because you humbly opened the door first. And while I was a midshipman, there were a few instructors who did that, more who didn't, and I felt like that is not okay. We need to do better at that. And human nature, I think, in my opinion, is we focus on the outsides, the top 20%. They get all the love. I don't care if it's academics, sports. We like extremes. So everyone is doing awesome. We laser focus in on. Folks who struggle, we also focus on too, especially in academics. Hey, are you good? You need my help? What about the middle 60? They get glazed over because, and that was me. I was in the middle 60, I'll call it. And as a mid, physically fit, looked good in uniform, didn't really get in trouble. Mechie, my grades weren't the best, but overall, like, I think Burnett, that guy Burnett, he's got it.
Order of merit right
out,
at 500, just like he's cruising. All good.
But they're like, the perception is the dude's good, but deep down I'm like, what am I doing? Right? Like, I need some help, and I said, I'm going to make sure I go back and help, and I'm going to impact every single student that's in my class. Every single student I walk by in the hall, I'm going to greet you. I'm going to ask how you're doing. I just try to be genuine and I try to be humble, because if not, I may miss an opportunity to impact them. And it's just, you won't get that back. So just interact. And that's what made me want to do it. And it honestly has been, it's not that the stuff's easy, but the intent is easy. If that makes sense.
No, and it's special. Again, I love that. I love that about the Naval Academy, because there's such direct involvement from the staff in the life of midshipmen. And it sounds like maybe it's developed over time and continued to build into that, which is incredible. Because again, for me, my number one mentor, like the person who kind of made the biggest impact in my life, was my officer representative of the basketball team, right? Like at the time, Major Cruisinger, like that was the man who carried me from a really difficult point to adopting, embracing, believing in the system, the process, everything that was going on, and made me understand the beauty in the Naval Academy experience, right? And so I think it's really cool, because then you've also found a way now to stay involved with midshipmen even outside of the direct classroom, which is your involvement with the Formula team, Formula SAE. And so I want to give you this opportunity now to talk about what that is, because again, for me as a midshipman, my roommate was on the Formula team, so I knew about it. But if it weren't for that and the fact that like he was talking about like building engines and stuff, like I would have had no idea that existed at the Naval Academy. And so I want to give you an opportunity to talk about all the cool stuff that midshipmen are doing in the realm of engineering and automotive, engineering specifically, and just turn it over to you there.
Sure. So big picture, Formula SAE is a university competition that happens every year. We compete at the Michigan International Speedway. There's 120 universities that are led into the competition. There's more that want to get in, and it's like no kidding, like tickets sell out in a minute, like that kind of thing. You got to be ready to register and go. And what you do, it's typically, in our case, for us, we're a little different being a service academy, and we can dive into some of those details, but we've got roughly 20 midshipmen who are engineering majors. So a lot of mechies, a lot of mechanical, but we got aero, we've got the WRC folks, whether it's double E or robotics. We've got general engineers. So we've got this group of a couple different flavors and disciplines of engineering. They're split up into sub-teams, Could be the powertrain, right? The engine and that kind of stuff. Could be the suspension and the vehicle dynamics. Could be the aero, the wiring, like all these sub teams. And you say, hey, this is your capstone, right? Your senior design project, your capstone. But we're going to put it all together, and we're going to make a race car, and we're going to go compete. So it's midshipman led. It's midshipman design, fabricate, and test. And sometimes the test doesn't always happen like we want. And then ultimately drive or compete with this thing against 120 other teams. The hard part is they got what they think is a year, but in reality, you don't have a year. For example, the NR 26 team was formed around spring break, just before spring break, just identified, hey, you 20 midshipmen are going to be on the team. Well, before they know it, it's end of April. It's over 6 weeks later, and they're trying to figure out what they do next. And they don't know yet, but they should be designing. And then you go on summer leave, you go on summer training, and before you know it, you come back, it's reform, and then it's September, and you're like, oh man,
time to go.
we got time to go, right? So it is a really challenging project for service academies, but it's a badge of honor for these kids. It is like being, I'm sure how it is to be a member of the Navy basketball team or the football team or whatever. It's something that they're going to carry with them because they know they went through this tough program, and it ain't the car. It's a way to develop real life skills, leadership, especially peer leadership. We know that's the hardest one. We all can complain up the chain of command. We can go down, but somehow it's really challenging to go left or right and try to tell your friend, your buddy, your wardroom member, another of equal rank or experience, hey, step up, or hey, I need you to do this. And it is stuff in life that people struggle with. So it is a way to develop those leadership skills, the communication skills, right? To have the backbone to talk it out and figure it out. And then really just the project management, because we know in the fleet, you're going to be given people, money, time, a mission, and you got so long to do it. How do we do it? And the car is just, in my opinion, a really cool way to develop those skills. So that's it in a nutshell. Most schools we compete against, they want a job in motorsports. They want it, NASCAR, Formula One, MotoGP, Moto America, drag racing, whatever. Our midshipmen, not that they can't do that later on, right? But guess what? We got you.
You got a commitment.
You got a commitment. But after that, maybe some doors open up. Maybe that's a resume builder for you. So that's it in a nutshell.
First question. I'm sure the question, anyone who's like not super engineering focused, like me potentially, how do you guys determine who gets to drive the car? Who's the midshipman that gets to drive that sucker, dude?
That's always number one. Okay, so technically it depends. I'll say it depends, and here's what it could depend on. It can depend on the involvement of that midshipman. For example, if you were all in on it and you put in the hours, right, and you're invested in it, and I'm not, right, and I'm slacking, I'm not carrying that boat, guess what? You got a better chance of driving than me. Okay, so that's involvement's a piece of it. Another piece of it is, no kidding, your size. Okay, look, I will never be, even if I would never be the guy who's going to drive the acceleration run, right, where it's basically like a drag race. 245 pounds, dude.
A big boy.
It ain't happening. Right? It's not happening, right? So it's the size. So if we have, a female or a male and who's smaller in stature, who can drive, great. And then the third piece will be like, truly, can you drive? Right? So like, do you have the ability, the motor skills, hand-eye coordination, or confident driving? Because it's very, for the listeners, it's very like autocross based. So imagine parking lot, tight cones. It's not really wide open. It's not high speeds. It's incredible acceleration and braking and G-forces and lateral G-forces. But one, from a safety standpoint, we don't want college kids ripping around, Laguna Seca or the Circuit of the Americas at 160 miles an hour. Like, that's not what we're after. So everything's really tight and it's very challenging. So you got to have some motor skills. So really size, involvement, and motor skills. And typically most teams will allow certain mids to do certain events. Like, you may do part of the endurance event with someone else, and then they'll split it. Someone else, maybe like I said, a small female, lightweight, she'll do the Excel run, and then maybe one other guy or gal will do the skid pad or something along those lines. So they try to spread that love. The midshipmen decide, though. Captain Hamilton, who's currently the faculty advisor, and he's been doing it for over 20 years. He actually he came here when I was a mid, and he was running it then.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, they decide. Let them decide.
decide.
So I won't change that. I'll let them pick it out.
No,
Let them
that's fair.
fight it out.
And you mentioned this, like, again, teams. There are teams, and there's a competition right at the end against other universities.
Yes.
Can you just talk a little bit about like what that culminating event is, right? That they're actually competing in. Give a little bit of background on that.
Yeah.
And like, does Navy, over the course of how long we've done this now, like, do we have any rivals? Like, are there any institutions that are like constantly like top tier in formula?
Yeah. This good stuff. Good question. So again, every May
Yep.
in Michigan, we do the comp. It is intense. Like, it is an intense 3-day event, and where it starts with is like getting your car through what they call get your car through tech.
Okay.
Means it needs to be technically inspected. There is a 125-page rule book that some teams may miss stuff.
Sure.
And if you miss it, it does not matter. You are not driving your car in any of these events if you can't meet these rules, because let's face it, it's a safety thing.
Sure.
And it's attention to detail. So that in itself, like, there are teams on a lower level that if they just pass tech, it's like a win to them. And they might be a small community college or small college where they have 6 people on their team, or they might be a first-year team, and their goal was to, hey, we want to make comp and pass tech. Right now, Navy, we've been doing it long enough. We got to be better than that. But there are teams that's respectable. Then you have the teams that make tech who stuff falls off the car in a rut. Like, no kidding. Like, we're at a mock competition the other day, and I'm going to knock on the Navy team a little bit. They weren't ready. They should have been ready. They weren't ready. But the other schools were, so we went. And there was one of the other teams, and my son was there with me because he loves cars, and he's a little gearhead. And the student comes up, says to their team lead, he's like, "Oh, hey, I think we have a problem with all the hardware falling off our car." And I mean, there's hardware.
That's a little problem. Yeah, we've got a small problem.
And it's a small, right? But it's one of those like very basic things.
Sure.
And hey, look, you got to test. High RPM engine, things are vibrating, they're coming loose. Maybe you didn't use the proper torque, or you didn't safety wire something. And these are real skills that I look at it like, if you're a JO in the fleet and you're watching an aviation mechanic safety wire something, you're like, oh, I've done that on a race car. Oh, that's important, because I surely don't want my aircraft falling out of the sky, right? So you see that level of team of just, they made it through tech, now stuff's falling apart. You see teams then on the whole other end of the spectrum. They look like a no kidding professional NASCAR or Formula One team. They have matching, shirts, and their trailers wrapped, and the car looks like, it's perfect carbon fiber, and it has decals that are laid out, I mean, beautifully aesthetically pleasing. And the fit and finish is right, and all those kind of students, guess what? They're going to work.
That's gonna be their career, right? Yeah, that's their job.
Yeah, that's their career. So historically for Navy, I'll tell you this: 120 students. The best we ever did was in the 2015, 16, 17, 18 era. So spun around.
Come on now,
Christian's
baby.
Era
Come on, yeah.
You were here. Yeah,
those are my friends. Yeah, come on now.
Yeah, 40. So top. You could call that, we just made the top third, or we're the top of the second tier. Okay. Which, for a service academy, 1 year is very respectable.
Yeah. So that's actually,
because
please, no, continue.
I was just going to say, most students on other teams, when they're freshmen, right, they're going, let's say they're going to Clemson, they're going to Georgia Tech, wherever, Purdue, Ohio State, they know, I want to work for General Motors one day. So when they go in and they're freshmen, hey, I want to be a mechanical engineer, and where's your car team at? And every right, while our mids are running out there and doing practice parade, they're marching to watch a football game, you know what I'm saying? These guys are out wrenching, and they're driving cars. We can't. Heck, our campus alone, Virginia Tech, they probably can roll their car out into an open parking lot and let it rip on a weeknight. Oh, actually, our sister team, College Park, Maryland, they'll reserve a parking lot at midnight and run their car for 3 hours at night. Well, you've been on the yard. Where are you going to drive a little race car at?
It's not gonna happen.
No one's gonna let you. Not gonna happen. So we can't even get seat time.
Yeah, I was about to say, driving a car at 2 a.m. too sounds way less fun when you got to be up for formation at 7 a.m. too. No sleeping in until noon. We have a lot of
That's right. We have a ton of constraints. So for that era of team, around Christian's era, for those teams to call it 40th, like that's impressive. And what did it was, we had underclass involvement. There, informally, we had fourth class, third class, second class who just wanted to be a part of it. They were stuck on the yard. They're like, you know what? And actually, I get Tuesday night liberty. Nah, I'm not going to go out in town and spend my money doing stupid stuff. I want to go work on a race car. And those students, when they were firsties, they weren't starting from ground zero. They knew what they were getting into, and it resulted in that. So I told the current batch, and when I take over next year, I said, if you can touch 40th, you're doing something. So I'm trying to be realistic with them, but I would love to see it, because that's growth. We need growth. We need development.
Sure, it's fantastic, and I appreciate you saying that, because that was going to be my segue when I almost jumped in. Like, that was my question, which was, again, it sounds like a lot of universities, like, again, they do this for 4 years. At the Naval Academy, it's a capstone project. So there's two things here that I want to kind of ask about, which is, one, for anyone who's listening who may not be familiar with like the Naval Academy capstone, like platform and project, do you mind giving a rundown on that?
Sure.
And then the second piece goes back into underclass involvement, knowing that this is really designed for people in their first year, midshipmen in their first year. How does a midshipman get involved if they want to be involved as an underclassman?
Yep, perfect. Okay, so with capstone in general, and I'll just kind of speak like just Kevin Burnett, the mechie side, the engineering house, right? Every engineering student has a capstone project they do as a senior. It could be a small team of 2, 3, 4 people that are doing a humanitarian based project. They're designing something for the Navy. They're working on an airfoil because they're aero majors. They're creating some, electronic control module because they're EE or robotics or computer engineering. It's just a lot of, we'll call small projects. The car team just happens to be one where you put them all together, right? Where, let's say Christian was a powertrain guy. Maybe he was just doing exhaust tuning. Like, he designed the whole exhaust system and figured out how it would flow. It would meet the sound requirements of the rules. It would look good. It would be lightweight. It would fit our engine. It wouldn't fall off, right? Like, that's a capstone project in itself. And so, it's just call it a small team project, applying what you learned for call it 2 years in the engineering classroom, and then figuring out, how do I design, fabricate, and test something that meets some objective. And that's a senior capstone project.
Love it.
The second half, sorry, you said
all about underclassmen involvement, right? And so how do underclassmen get involved? What can they be doing, etc.?
Yep. So I would say, like, there are hurdles for mids, right? And like I said, it could be the practice parade, it could be your sport, it could be company mandatory events. But I will tell you that it is also the midshipman that is the hurdle. And the ones who say, well, I'm not doing anything until it's senior, I'm a senior, like, you're just missing an opportunity. For example, I'm teaching a youngster third class design course for mechies. And they are learning SolidWorks, which is a 3D computer modeling program. They're learning how to the basics of design. Well, one day we took them down to the shop where they met the civilian technicians we have in the shop. I mean, incredible talent down there. Machinists, folks who deal with composites, welding. I mean, you name it, and it's a professional environment. And we taught them about, like, what these folks expect when you submit a design drawing to them. And I told them, you can come down here anytime you want. Let's say you're in Rickover Hall you got first, second, and fourth period. Okay. What does most midshipmen do for third period? They go back to their room.
Take a nap.
Right? They take a nap. They get on their phone and they're scrolling IG, right? They're going to the library, acting like they got a book. Like, but you got 50 minutes. Go down to the shop. You see that machinist down there. Maybe they're turning something on a lathe. Maybe the welder, Mick, is down there and he's welding something. Sponge it up. That's so informal, and you don't have to pay for it, and it's right there. And guess what? Those technicians love that. And then they build a relationship with you. It's kind of like, I tell my students, and I can get to this in a second, but I say, know your server's name. Like, if you go to a restaurant, you come to my table, hey, my name's Grant. I'll be serving you tonight. Would you like something to drink? Rarely does someone say, hey, Grant. They rarely repeat the name first off. But hey, Grant, how are you doing tonight? And you're kind of taken back. You're like, oh, shoot, repeat it by name. I'm doing good, right? And you come back, you get your drinks, and hey, Grant, where are you from? And what I'm doing, I'm just building a relationship. I'm being a real person with you. Well, now you're probably stepping up your service. Because I'm engaged with you. I'm getting a better service, right? And in the end, I get a good meal, you get a good tip. It's a win-win. It's the same in the shop. These guys down there, they want to build you stuff. These guys and gals want to build you stuff. take your free time, get involved, build a relationship. When it's your time, Capstone time, and you go down there and you say, hey, Andy, I need you to machine this for me. Grant, I got you covered, buddy. I'll crank that out as soon as I can. Right? Hey, I need this welded. Hey, I can do that for you. You build a relationship. So underclass, nothing formal. Just poke your head in there. You know what I treat them like? They're like senior enlisted not wearing a uniform.
Yeah.
Okay? And a lot of JOs are there, I'm scared of the mess. The mess is, at least in the CB world, they're it. They're it. And you better be humble enough to say, hey, I know I got to make the call today, but I don't know what the call is, and I'm not afraid to ask you for help. And you can beat me up all you want, and I'm gonna take that as positive reinforcement, and I'll make a call, and they'll love it. You know, CB Chiefs, they're tough. They're some tough cats. But that's the shop setting, right? It's blue collar workers who work with metal and things like that, and they want to help midshipmen who are going to be future JOs. So underclass involvement really is the midshipman.
I love it.
Just get down there. Just
open the door.
Be proactive. Ask some questions.
Yeah.
Proactive. You know, we got fourth class, and third class now, who just popped their heads in why the the current team, NR25, is bum rushing to build their car. What do we got? 3 weeks left? They got to be in Michigan in 3 weeks. They're still working on this car. Never driven it yet. And midshipmen are coming down there and they're just poking their head in. And I'm like, hey, get in the chaos. Get in there. Roll your sleeves up. What do you got to lose, man? Take your notepad, write some stuff down. Because a lot of times, at least for me in the military and in life, it was more valuable to learn what not to do than what to do. And when you watch someone who's doing it before you, they will tend to tell you what not to do. Like, hey, man, when it's your turn, don't design it this way. Here's why. I can't get the engine in and out very easily. Or, oh, my goodness, I should have routed the wiring this way because now it's laying on the exhaust and it's going to melt. Like, just basic things. So, yeah, midshipmen, be proactive, get involved. Don't be afraid of it. Just get in there. Because that is what.
It's really interesting, right? I think, again, in kind of a sad, humbling reality of the military is a lot of our lessons learned are lessons learned in blood, right? And like a lot of our SOPs that have been created in the surface world, in the aviation world, in the special warfare world, whatever it is, the SOPs are created based on mistakes that have happened, right? Like things that have happened. And there is a certain level, again, when it comes to leadership, sometimes you see someone that you want to emulate and you want to do stuff like them. But a lot of our course that has been provided that set the lateral limits for us are based on mishaps that have happened or things that have gone wrong or things that didn't work, right? And so, you know, being involved, again, if you're actively involved for 4 years, guess what? You're going to see a lot of stuff over that 4 years versus that 4-week period, right? To be able to come in and participate and contribute. And
absolutely. I mean,
and that's
what it's about. I mean, you hit the nail on the head, man. And honestly, like I leadership's that two-way street. It's reciprocating, right? It's so I tell the upper class, I'm like, don't be so and not that they're being selfish. It's not, but I'm like, your time is very valuable, but don't be afraid of some short-term lapse for long-term growth. For example, if you got a fourth class who's coming down here and you're a powertrain guy and he or she wants to help you, take 5 minutes, explain to them something, because then they're going to give you 3 hours back. But everyone's right. They're no, I don't get time, and then they don't want to develop. And you're like, okay. But a humble leader says, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to invest in you. And I'm going to spend a couple minutes because you're a force multiplier. And that's what it's about. So one of my goals is, hey, upper class, like, it's not that you're delegating everything. You're just investing in the next wave. And I'm telling you, you're going to learn more by trying to explain to them what you need them to do than you just trying to tackle it on your own. And that always worked for me. It worked well with CBs. CBs never worked for me. I work for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, what hammer? Do you need a hammer today? I'll give you a hammer. You want a big hammer? You want a little hammer? Oh, you're going to do concrete? What do you need to accomplish your goal? Now, that was for me or the skipper or whoever we were supporting, but I work for them. It's the same with whatever the car team is. Get your underclass involved. They work like you work for them in a way, but in reality, they'll back you up, and then that's your safety net, man. And then they're going to do better than you, and you won. And it's just, I think, human nature. We kind of don't see the forest through the trees sometimes, but you got to be willing to give up your time and invest in people.
No, 100%. Again, I think there's something really special in exactly that, which is when you get into these positions of like military leadership, right? You're talking about kind of you working for the CBs. Like military officership, a lot of the times is quite literally just being the champion for your division or for your unit to get them what they need to do their job, right? And then to, again, be their champion when they have something personal going on in their life, to get them the resources that they need to advance their career, to advance their personal life, to get them the help that they need, right? Like, you're not telling them what to do. You're fighting on their behalf, right? Like that's when stuff works, right? That's when stuff works.
No, that's awesome. It reminds me, like, I remember my first deployment, we were building concrete pads for the Osprey. And I went on the job site the first time. You know, I'm a JG. I'm in charge of a group of CBs that I probably shouldn't even be in charge of, right? It should be a lieutenant role. They didn't have, like, I'm the guy, right? Just, you got them. And I go up on the job site, and it was like, and you wear a white hard hat, like if you're senior enlisted or in the wardroom. So it's like music kind of stops, right? Like, oh, there's a white hard hat. Yeah. And at first it was very like, you know, what's up, sir? What are you doing? That kind of thing. And I said, hey, here's the deal. We're on deployment. Who's doing the worst job on the site right now? Meaning, like, the job that anyone can do with zero skill, that is either really hard strenuously, like you're going to sweat, or it's going to just, like, and anyone can do it. Just a person can do it. I was like, how about this? I'll do that. Let me earn my stripes. You know what I'm saying? And you take that BUCN or whoever that low man or woman on the totem pole is, let them go do something that will help them make BU3.
Yep.
Like, go set up forms or do something technical that help them pass the exam, or give them a little bit of leadership. Well, here's why that works. They see me over there. I'm sweating, right? I'm sweating. I'm struggling. They're going to poke fun at you. Oh, look at sir over there. But what you're doing is you're building teamwork. And you're, like you said, you're letting them advance. And you're also checking on things. Like, there were plenty of times where they had it, but they needed me. And if I wasn't there, we might have had an issue. But they came to me because we had a mutual respect. And I humbly jumped in there first. I wasn't micromanaging. I was going to sweat with you. And my style is, let me do that first. And then when I really need you, oh, hey, we're behind because of weather or material delays. And we got to work, you know, instead of 710s, we're going to work 712s, right? And it's 100 degrees. They're like, no problem, sir. On it. We got it. Because you gave a little bit first. And we've got to be able to do that. And that's that humble leadership. And I wouldn't do it any other way.
100%. This is a shameless self-plug here for anyone who is listening and interested kind of in this dynamic. All right. I encourage you to go back and listen to the episode I did with Master Chief Anthony Amato, talking all about, like, the first relationship with a young division officer and their chief, and how a JO should interact with the mess. Right. And so when we use the term mess, right, I know Kevin had mentioned the mess, being scared of the mess. We're talking about the community of chiefs at a certain command, right? Like, the mess is the chief's mess. And that's what they become. And so, again, it's pinnacle. It's peak military leadership is being a young 22 to 25-year-old walking into, again, probably a 40 to 45-year-old, some guy who's been in the Navy for about as long as you've been alive, right? and understanding how to work that partnership, right? Because if you don't act like it's a partnership, if you act like you're the boss and they're there for you, it's not going to go well. It's just not going to go well.
Yeah, no, hey, I got it. I mean, with you propping that up, I got to run with it, because I got to give props to, like, again, to CB chiefs, you know, the senior enlisted. They are, we kind of fall, like, you got the gray Navy, you got the Marine Corps. See, we're in the middle. Okay. Like, we kind of are in the middle too, the way we operate, but we have, I think, the best of both. Right. Because Marine Corps, they got it dialed, but sometimes that's a little too much for, right? It's a little, hey, we're not as gung ho.
A little too, yeah.
And but like, we're in the dirt and we're supporting them. And then you got the gray Navy, which we're not ship drivers. We're not on the water in the open seas, and we don't quite understand that, but we're right in the middle. And somehow I think CB chiefs, like, they get it. And they are, I mean, it's nothing against senior officers that I've worked for, but I learned way more from the mess. And it's because they really care about you when you come in and you're humble, but you're also confident, right? Where you say, hey, I know I got to make the call, but God gave me 2 ears and 1 mouth, and I'm going to listen twice as much as I talk, but I'm going to start by listening to my people. And they were incredible. And I want to give like the E5, E6 and the CBs a ton of credit. Look, I've never been on a ship like in that realm, but the responsibility that we give E5s and E6s and the CBs is incredible. And they are like workhorses, and they'll humble you. Like you said, it was funny you said about, like, they've been in the Navy longer than you've been alive. First uniform inspection I ever did, right? This is a good JO story, right? I'm a JG. I'm at nuke school, so my career got delayed. I'm not in an operational command, so I'm basically a JG. and I'm a company commander of 108
Mm-hmm.
CVs, filling for a lieutenant,
Yep.
filling in for a lieutenant billet. And I remember Senior Chief Beck's like, hey, you got to do uniform inspections. You just pick a squad, pick a platoon, pick a squad. We'll inspect them. Roger that. Well, CBs, and this is pre-Type 1, Type 2, Type 3 camis.
Mm-hmm.
This is back in the old woodlands. Yep. Well, that's all we wore. And then you never saw them in their whites. Like, we're working, but we got to do a uniform inspection once in a while, make sure they still own that stuff and they look sharp. Mm-hmm. Everybody's, in weight standards and that stuff. So we're summer whites, right? Or whites. Yep. So I pick a squad and I go CM1, and I'll leave his name out of it. I don't want to embarrass him, but CM1. I got my little USNA starter pack.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I got my little
your 3 ribbons, the national defense and the pistol rifle. Yeah.
Yeah. No warfare device, just looking, total newbie. Yeah. I walk in front of this guy, and it's like I can't even see his excuse me. Yeah. It's it's up on his collarbone underneath his lapel. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at this, 12 sea service ribbons, a Bronze Star with a V, and I'm like,
combat action ribbon, all of it.
Combat action ribbon, I'm like, CM1. How many? What? Sir, I've been on, and it's just super humble guy. Wouldn't tell you if you didn't ask. Yeah. I've been on 12 deployments. Two battalions, been at DevGru, done all this stuff. You wouldn't know that, and there you are thinking what you know. You don't know nothing, right? So they're the kind of people you need to engage with and be humble enough to say, help me develop, because I care for you, truly care for them, and they will support you. And a chief said it best to me. He's like, our main job in the Navy is to develop a JO. Yep. And guess what? You're like our quarterback. We want to root for an awesome quarterback. Mm-hmm. So when you stand in front of us at quarters, I'm proud of the way you look and the way you sound and the way you carry yourself. I'm proud of the way you conduct yourself in the wardroom, how you come on jobs. Mm-hmm. Like all these little things that no one would think about. It's never the big thing. It's all the little stuff. They're like, I'm proud of you as a well-rounded person and what we've made you, because guess what? That's bragging rights when I'm in the mess. Because I get to brag to my fellow chief, senior chief, master chief that guess what? JG so-and-so or Lieutenant so-and-so is better than your JG or your lieutenant. Yep. And I was like, I never thought of it like that. And they're like, you're it. And it was very humbling to hear a guy, like you said, who's maybe I'm 23 and he's 43. And he's saying, hey, I just want to make the best version of you. And again, the mess, the CB mess especially, I think have that figured out really, really well. So if anyone's listening to that, you may be in charge, but you better listen to your team. And it's a nice balance there. And when it's dialed in, man, it's like a smooth running. It's like a well-oiled machine, right? A nice running engine. It works. And I wish I could do all that again and then
sure. No, absolutely. Just to bring this back a little bit, just back to the Formula team, just to end it off here. I think we kind of answered all kind of the logistic cool aspects of the team and what they do. Colloquially, again, you would mention, again, if you're talking a big thing, Academy Insider, just getting like lingo and terminology, right? It is the Navy Formula Society of Automotive Engineers. Navy Formula SAE is like the actual term for the entity. Yep. You'll just usually reference it as like the Formula team, though, correct?
Correct. Correct.
And so that's, again, if you're referencing that, talking to people, again, you'd be referencing the Formula team. Again, no affiliation to F1. Again, obviously the biggest brand in the world is F1, and it's a similar idea, but it's not associated with the brand. This is just the Formula team. And for everyone now who's listening to you, Kevin, like, in your opinion, like why should midshipmen pursue this? Why should they do it? Because again, from my perspective, again, and hearing this, and maybe this is actually one more question for you, is that like, this isn't a team. Yeah. So you don't get to work on this during sports period, right? Like you're having to do this during your almost academic hours. And so knowing that it's an additional additive commitment, why should midshipmen do this? And what are they learning as a participant in this program, as a part of the Formula team, that's going to set them up for life, that's going to set them up for, their time as a division officer or platoon commander in the Navy or Marine Corps? And what's your goal for anyone who comes through this team and program? What are you hoping to imbue and instill in them as they come through it?
Awesome. So I'll just say that I don't think there's a better opportunity on the yard for an engineering student to take what they learned in the classroom and apply it to actually a real world problem. The level of commitment that they need to put into it is above most capstones. And like you said, it's because it's a daunting project that we can't do out. I mean, you do outside of your academic capstone period, and you got, late nights or weekends or whatever it is, but there's no other chance to put it all together like that, especially because the high level of competition that we compete against. And that comes down to that rule book. That rule book is so tight because of the level of competition. You cannot have a college student build a race car and not go through it with a fine tooth comb. And that is very similar to the fleet. We have very stringent procedures, right? You said SOPs earlier. We have rules and regulations that we need to follow. And if we can't even follow that, guess what? We're not going outside the wire. Okay. And so that's like foundationally kind of what I talked about earlier. Nowhere else do I think you get the chance to try to see how good your peer leadership is. And I don't care, uniform or not, the world is not good at peer leadership or just kind of mutual
it's uncomfortable,
right?
man. It's uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable, right? Whether it's friends or family or right, your neighbor or another lieutenant commander or whoever it is, it's awkward and it's hard. But I'm telling you what, if you are willing to provide corrective criticism or feedback in a positive and professional manner, and you're also willing to listen to it, you have a leg up on everyone else. And we hope that the car team does that, because then in the fleet, they can do that. Again, that communication piece, the project management, the engineering, all that's great. For us, it's that peer leadership, and it's hard. And like I said, it's outside of the uniform. It's outside of just employment. It's life. I mean, many times I've heard so many people, I'd love to tell my sister this, my brother that, my neighbor this, my another teammate this, and they don't. And you're like, just go tell them. I can't. You care about them, you love them, they are so close to you, and you're telling me you don't have the backbone to try to help them. And that's a huge hurdle. And I feel like the car team's a nice, and it happens in Bancroft too. There's ways, right, in the chain of command. There's ways to iron that out. So I would say that, and this is not just midshipmen. This is students. I want to say this to students who are thinking about, I love cars or trucks or motorcycles, but I want to be in the military too, and I think I can lead. Well, maybe a service academy like the Naval Academy is a place for you. And guess what? You do owe us a commitment, and you're going to get more out of that commitment than most. But if you love cars and motorsports, Formula SAE is for you. And maybe you get after 5 years, you get out after 15 years or 25 years, but maybe that's a career springboard for you. So it's just incredible opportunity. And yeah, like I said, I wish I could go back and change some of the midshipman stuff. I mean, day one didn't start out good for me. The football, I tried to make a football team, that didn't work, and all that stuff. And it's like, you got an opportunity, and just try to do your best with it. And that's one of those opportunities.
Love it. I'm reminded of a term that you mentioned. You're talking about like being in the middle between the Marine Corps and like the gray Navy. And so when you reference the gray Navy, just for anyone listening, again, I hope this Academy Insider always just continues to be like knowledge about colloquially, I can't even say the word, but like terminology, right?
Yep.
The gray Navy. So we always joke, or not joke, it's the color of the ship. Like the ships are painted haze gray. And so you hear the term haze gray and underway for ships when they're out to sea, haze gray and underway. It's the same for surface ships. It's the same for submarines. It's that haze gray color. And so again, when we mention the gray Navy, we're talking about like the surface fleet. We're talking about the submarines. We're talking about actual like naval vessels on the Navy side. So I just wanted to throw that in
there. Even like aviation, right? Like aircraft, right? Like it's basically, it's kind of slang. And honestly, I don't know how much of the CEC or the CB say that. I mean, I've heard it enough and I've said it enough myself, but around the folks, and it's basically us just saying like, hey, we support you, the Gray Navy. Now we also support, Spec War and the Marine Corps and all that, but really our goal is to help you do whatever you need. And that's like the Gray Navy. That's the line communities from the officer's standpoint. And we are here for you. And so, we're the oddball, right? We're a unique set. And I think we take pride in that though, because we're kind of a hybrid of, you hear the dirt Navy. That's some people, the CBs, they're the dirt Navy, right? Like, so it kind of goes two ways.
100%. Well, we'll get ready to wrap this up, but one last question for you. And again, this is something I bring up on kind of every episode. Again, you mentioned that you faced some adversity at time in the Naval Academy. You faced some health complications that shifted your entire Navy experience. based on everything that you've experienced, everything that learned, everything that you've felt, how do you feel about your naval experience, and why should a young man or woman who potentially is watching this, who's in high school, why should they consider a service academy education?
This is something bigger than yourself, right? And you hear that a lot. And adversity is actually okay. It means you're trying to do something that's challenging. And you could even do everything right, and unexpected adversity could hit you. And actually, it's similar to like when I said a badge of honor for the Formula team, because that's my story, is that things did not go well and I didn't quit. Like if we have the time, I'll kind of talk about, like, it's like the man in the arena, right? From reef points, right? You're trying, and there's critics, and they're like looking at you like they don't mean anything, right? Because they're not doing it, they're not trying to do it. And if you keep it safe and in your in your bubble, and it's protected, you're missing out on life, man, whether it's uniform or not. And so I tell any young person, like, be humble, be confident, and go on almost find adversity. Like, see what your limits are, and guess what? That limit's not going to be permanent. Find the limit, figure out how to fix it, and build and build and build. And like, yeah, that was me from day one. Just a quick story. Day one, I got forgotten in Alumni Hall. I'm not kidding. Going through, I don't know when they dropped me off, 0530, 06. I was one of those early waves. Get your little bag of reef points, get your hair cut. Well, I had a tattoo that needed to be reviewed. Nothing offensive, religious tattoo. It ended up getting approved, but no one told me, right? I was in Alumni Hall all day. I got a box lunch in there, and I don't know anything about this. I'm just like, I'm
just
doing
sitting
this
there.
But I'm telling myself, oh, this is it. This is the grind. They're trying
to psych you out.
Yeah, they're trying to psych me out. No, I'm winning. And all I'm reading, I'm no kidding, I'm reading Man in the Arena, because I am the man and the only man in the arena. In Alumni
That's
Hall.
right.
And this female lieutenant doc comes up and says, Midshipman Burnett, I'm sorry, but they're waiting for you. We approved your tattoo and we forgot to
let you know. My bad.
Push you
my
on.
bad. Let's
and I'm
go.
like, I'm thinking, who's they, right? What's the oath of office?
Yeah.
Everyone's waiting. So they rushed me in. They rushed me through, like, there's a bus waiting for me. They rushed me to the mid-store. Detailers are freaking out, yelling at me, right? We're waiting on you, right? Run up the steps, right? Everyone, my whole company's formed up on the bulkhead, right? In the P wave, trying to use some Navy terms here. Throw my bags in my room. Right when I throw my bags in, we march down, we do our oath of office. So I never even unpacked, didn't know what I was, and I'm thinking like, oh man, what did I get into? So adversity might hit you day one. Guess what? Dust off, get back up, dust off. Try to look at the positive side of it. You might not see it at first, but it's there, I promise you. And you keep going. And when you get hit again, you keep going. And what you realize is, like, if you go in the gym and you lift, what do you get on your hands? You get some calluses, right? You're building up a resiliency. And it's the same with adversity in life. It is not a negative. It is if you let it, cripple you and hold you back, but it's actually a benefit if you can battle through it. So for me, that's what I've tried to do, and I would do it all over again. And I hope that at least the next wave can do it better than me. And if we do that, like I said, we're going in the right direction.
Oh yeah. Love that, man. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you using some Naval Academy terminology. We'll actually put a little card here if you're watching on YouTube to a link, another shameless plug to the Plebe Summer terminology episode, where we break down all these like random terms that you'll hear during Plebe Summer and tell some good stories, probably some serious throwbacks to hitting bulkheads and bracing up and everything. So it'll be good. But Kevin, genuinely, thank you. I appreciate your time today. I appreciate your vulnerability, sharing kind of your experiences and your journey to make it to this point, and really grateful for everything. So I appreciate you, brother. Thanks for being a part of the Academy Insider podcast, and you're the man. Thank you.
No, Grant, thank you, man. You and your team, you're awesome. Just to be a part of this, I'm more than honored, and I would do this again in a heartbeat with you. So if we got more to talk about, let's set it up again.
Thermodynamics. Stand by for a
Yeah,
thermodynamics conversation. We'll teach the Academy Insider, a little thermo.
Yeah, we'll talk thermo, and I'll talk about maybe some more details about more of that midshipman time frame.
Yep.
I think there's a lot there that I could unravel for some folks that I think, like, it's basically, you're okay.
Yep.
We got you.
Let's do it.
And you're not alone. And if they can take it from me and at least make them feel a little bit better, that's a win.
Let's do it.
Dude, thanks again, brother. I appreciate it. I was honored. And this was awesome.
All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Academy Insider Podcast. I really hope you liked it, enjoyed it, and learned something during this time. If you did, please feel free to like and subscribe or leave a comment about the episode. We really appreciate to hear your feedback about everything and continue to make Academy Insider an amazing service that guides, serves, and supports midshipmen, future midshipmen, and their families. Thank you.